This is lesson 3, day 1, part of a whole as a percent. Now you're used to seeing is over of equals percent over 100. We are going to transition that for a bit to part over whole equals percent over 100, and then transition you to the percent equation, which is what we want to look at. So for our opening exercise, let's talk about what is the whole unit in each scenario here. Okay, so the first one, 15 is what percent of 90? Our whole unit would be 90. In the next one, what number is 10% of 56? 56 would be our whole unit. 90% of a number is 180. That would be a number. A bag of candy contains 300 pieces, and 25% of the pieces in the bag are red. The whole unit is the 300 pieces of candy. %70 of the students earned a B on the test, then they're the students in the class would be the whole unit. And then here it says the 20 girls in the class represented 55% of the students in the class. So again, students in class. Okay. So next it says read each problem and complete the table to record what you know. It says 40% of the students on the field trip love the museum. If there are 20 students on the field trip, how many love the museum? In this scenario, we have 40% is our percent, and we have for the whole, there are 20 students on the field trip, so we are looking for the part. In the next scenario, we have 40% of the students on the field trip love the museum. If 20 students love the museum, how many are on the field trip? Again, we have 40 for the percent, and we have 20 students that love the museum. So we are looking for how many students are on the field trip. That is our whole that we are looking for. The last one is 20 students on the field trip. 20 students on the field trip love the museum. If there are 40 students on the field trip, what percent love the museum? So we're looking for the percent. It says that there are 40 students on the field trip. So it's telling us that 20 of them love the museum. Okay, and that is the chart for that. Okay. The next 3 examples that we are going to be looking at is we are going to look at 2 different ways. Method 1, and we are going to put a line down the center here. Method 1 is going to be what you are used to, which is going to be a proportion, which is part over whole equals percent over 100. Then we are going to look at method 2, which is going to be the percent equation. Which is what we are going to be doing today. Okay? And that percent equation is P equals percent times W, where P equals the part, percent, and whole. So as we read the example in Ty's math class, 20% of the students earned an A on the test. If there are 30 students in the class, how many got an A? So if we were to replace this formula, 20 is the percent, so we have 20 over 100. 30 students in the class, so 30 would be our whole. And we are looking for the part. So here we would cross multiply. So the first thing we would do is cross multiply. So we would have 100x equals 600. The second thing we would do is divide. So we would divide both sides by 100. So we would have x equals 6. So 6 students got an A. So that would be method 1. Method 2, to use our percent equation, you have our P, our percent, and our W. So P is the part, percent, and whole. So our whole would be 30. Our percent would be 0.20, which would be our 20%. And we are looking for the part, which would be x. As always, you write our formula down. P equals percent times whole. So we would have x equals 0.20 times 30. And our answer again would be 6 students got an A. Our next example, or exercise in this case, we have in Ty's art class, we have 12% of the Flag Day art projects received a perfect score. There were 25 art projects turned in, and how many of the art projects got a perfect score? And again, it's even telling us identify the whole, which is 25. So here, under method 1, we've got part over whole equals percent over 100. So here we have x over 25 equals 12 over 100. When we cross multiply, we have 100, x equals 300. When we divide both sides by 100, x equals 3. So 3 got a perfect score. For the second method, or method 2, the percent equation, we have P equals percent times whole, our P, our percent, and our W. Our W is 25. Our percent is 0.12, and we are looking for our x. So we have x equals 0.12 times 25, which equals 3. So 3 got a perfect score. And we're done now. Okay. Our final example for the day, and I'm going to show you both methods again on this question. It says, in Ty's English class, 70% of the students completed an essay by the due date. I'll move this just a little bit over. So we have 70% of the students. There are 30 students in Ty's class. How many completed the essay by the due date? So here we've got part over whole. Equals percent over 100. So here we have 70%. And we have 30 students. Well, x over 30 students. So if we cross multiply, we have 100x equals 2,100. Divide both sides by 100. And we have x equals 21 students who completed the essay. Under the method 2, the percent equation, our whole is 30 students. Our percent is 0.70 or 0.7, and we have x. We write down our formula. We replace, so we've got x equals 0.7 times 30, which is 21 students completed the essay. This right here is the formula I want you to use on your homework. And this ends the lesson for today.